I remember walking down the hallway and seeing Oday at the end of the hallway and then turning the corner and seeing Adam and was just like, whoa. I've been writing a character for a couple of years at that point and living with him for even longer. And then to see him standing in front of you is a pretty extraordinary thing.
What does it take to be a refugee in today's interconnected world? If one manages to escape a dangerous situation in the place of their birth, can they truly leave the trauma behind? Especially when the horror is just a phone call or video chat away. In Oday Rasheed's stunning film, If You See Something, we experience the strain that is placed on a young couple as they struggle to reconcile their disparate experiences. Adam Bakri is amazing in the role as an Iraqi doctor seeking asylum in the US, and Jess Jacobs, who also wrote the screenplay, creates a memorable and empathetic portrait of the all-American girl who's trying to understand all of the challenges facing her partner as he tries to integrate into his new environment. In our current world, it may be difficult to believe that a film about immigration is not political. But If You See Something manages to be something that transcends polemics, focusing on the personal experiences of those who are buffeted about by the forces of society. It's a wonderful film, and we hope that our conversation with director Oday Rasheed and screenwriter-actor Jess Jacobs inspires you to get out to your local art house to see it. Join us for that conversation on Inside the Arthouse, starting now.
Hi, my name is Laemmle.
And I'm Raphael Sbarge.
And welcome to today's episode of Inside the Arthouse. We are joined by Oday Rasheed and Jess Jacobs, and they're here to talk about their film, If You See Something.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming in. It's really wonderful to have you. I love the film.
Really love the film. I'm aware of the fact is that you started this almost 12 years ago, and a lot has changed in the intervening years. And I'm just as a place to start, I'm just curious, as from when you started making this sort of immigrant film and this relationship that happens in the midst of it, did things change in the edit or in the process, in the writing process?
I think it evolved. It started from a solid idea that we want to tell a story about a relationship between an immigrant and an American, and that concept evolved through the writing, and of course we were affected by what's going on around us over the years making this movie, but the solid idea remained the same because the problem has remained the same, and the problems that I faced when I came to this country 12 years ago, I'm sure it's the solid same problem that any immigrant is facing it right now, and especially when he or she try to integrate with a very complicated society like the American society.
Talk about the relationship of developing the story. I mean, you're credited as the director, but perhaps involved far before the process. One of the credited screenwriters together with Avram Ludwig.
Yeah.
How do those roles do? I mean, maybe those roles don't mean anything, or maybe they do.
No, they
but I'm curious.
It's been a collaboration. Oday has been the kind of driving force of the project from its inception. So it originally was a script that Avram had written, that Oday and Avram had worked on together, and had developed really as a solid thriller. One in which Ali disappears in the middle of the movie, and Katie has to go on this kind of journey to go and find him. And, it was a script that came across my desk in 2016. I fell in love with Katie as a character. I saw so much of myself in her, kind of in a surprising way. And actually, it had been sent to me for a different role. And I reached out to Oday and Avram and said, you guys wrote me in this character, and will you come over to have dinner at my house? And can we have a conversation about this? And so I had them over for dinner. I cooked them a dinner.
It was delicious.
We had a great conversation.
Clinched the deal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Dinner.
I mean, the conversation that we had that night was about what it means to find home, what it means to care about people across differences. Avram was born and raised in New York. I was born and raised in Southern California. Oday born and raised in Baghdad. And the conversations that we were able to have about humanity and about politics and about what we wanted for our lives, it was all fundamentally the same. And so, the differences I think that we tend to see between people who have cultural backgrounds that differ from each other, we actually really saw so much similarity. And so, by the end of the night, we were shaking hands and kind of decided we were going to embark on this journey together. And about 2 years later, I remember standing on my roof in Brooklyn and getting a phone call that Avram had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So a devastating moment, and we put down the project and again sort of stood for our humanity and said we're just going to show up for each other and for him. And I mean, I don't know how to say it except to say it was a devastating experience, and we lost him in May of 2019. And we took the summer and sort of talked to a couple of different writers about coming on board to continue the development of the script. And by September, we hadn't found somebody that we really loved. And Oday and I had been so close in the development with him that I went to Europe and took my computer with me and did a pass on the script and came back. And Oday,
I really liked it. Yeah, it was really good, and I think that's she put what exactly the script missed, that point, which was the Katie's voice, like the woman voice and the script, and I was like really happy to get that, and from that moment we said like, yes, this is what we want to do.
And that's really where it transitioned from being this like strict thriller to being a kind of thriller that has a relationship at its core.
Right, it has both. I mean, it really it's sort of it's you could say it was a thriller and it has thrilling aspects to it, but it has a romance to it, and it has a lot of humanist kind of experience in it, and so it's sort of multi-genre. I don't know what.
Yeah. I mean, I think we started from like, as a director, I started from the concept. It's like, I don't want to preach in this movie. I just I want to explore, and that's including the form, in the film form that I'm dealing with. And when we knew early, as I said, that this is about the relationship and how they affect each other, we needed this. We needed this, different angles to the how to deal with the story, like thriller, romance, and definitely solid drama.
Right.
And you play with perspective, right?
That's of course. Yeah.
So you know in terms of whose perspective.
Exactly.
Whose perspective are we looking at any number of things?
Yeah, and that was part of the exploring the events within the movie, because it is a unique, is like when you have the unknown invade your life, and then you fall in love with this unknown, and then by definition you have two perspective, and I think we were lucky because just as born in America, I'm an immigrant by myself, so the conversation took another level in developing these characters and the plots.
Right.
I hope so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we're all people.
Absolutely. Right. We're all people, but there was so much of Oday and my relationship was explored on screen in the way in which what I learned about myself through getting to know him, what I learned about America through getting to know him.
Yeah.
So much of that in this sort of moment at the end of the movie where, somebody asks Katie, like, do you like it here? And she has this reaction of like, I've never been asked that. That was so much of what this experience of making this movie was like for me. It was like, I've never considered what it is to choose to be an American. I've just always been one.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting to me is that watching the film is that almost even from the very beginning in the car, there's a sequence in the car where story is told, it's there's just a sense of tension that exists sort of through these people's trying to navigate the world, and it's sort of built in. It's built in naturally. Obviously, it's whether in this case, how is he going to make it through his immigration hearing, and what's going to happen, and the family. And how, but there's a sense of just sort of like I remember just sort of like at one moment I had to sort of turn it off for a second and just like take a breath. It was like, wow, it's I don't know. Is that something that you were aware of and that you were building?
Starting from the script, the sense of urgency was a main element in developing this story. Yeah, and sometimes we didn't. Most of the times, actually, we didn't struggle and deliver this in the script. And when we were actually making the movie, I was directing. That concept never left my mind. It's like every shot I was shooting is like what does the shot will add and to the river of urgency in this movie, because I knew if I lose you, I lose you. I need you to be there with me till the end. And it's a very these kind of stories sometimes can be really dull because it's most of the time can go to the as I said, sense of preaching and try to lecture on the topic. And our goal was like no, we need to tell the story, and the characters by themselves, they had by their existence, they had sense of urgency that we were lucky to feel it and then to put it together.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talked about so often during the development of it too was the way in which Baghdad is an umbrella over Ali's experience, the way in which that's different from what Katie is experiencing. And so how their world views, like she's trying to kind of get under the umbrella. He's trying to say like, you don't want this umbrella, you know? And so that, I think that tension within the relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
Like how much of what he's leaving behind he wants to share with her and how much he wants to leave it behind.
Right, and why he wants to leave it behind.
And why he wants to leave it behind. And obviously when you fall in love with somebody and you want to know them, you want to know everything about them, you want to know the dark sides, you want to know the trauma, you want to know the hard stuff that, you know, and what he's resisting sharing and not sharing and what she wants to know. And like, she doesn't know what she doesn't know and she doesn't know what, like all of these kinds of things. And it's very true in this particular relationship. I think it's kind of true across all relationships. And that was something that we talked about and we're thinking about a lot, like getting to know anybody.
Do you ever really know someone?
Right.
And it's exacerbated by these cultural differences, for sure.
Yeah, and I remember very well that the feeling that I had when I emigrated to this country and I started family here, that I came with one suitcase, a visible suitcase, but I felt it that I had two. The other one is invisible. It was easy to unpack the first one, but to unpack the second one, which is everything.
You don't want to open it up sometimes.
You know, sometimes you don't. Exactly.
But you're still carrying it.
Carrying it. And sometimes you need to open it. And sometimes things from that suitcase come to attack you. And that was like really something we wanted to have it and exploring.
I think we've got a great clip talking about the process of unpacking and what we're sharing and what we're not sharing. And this is a scene where Ali is sitting for one of his. We see him sitting for his immigration interview. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
Did he understand?
I understand.
Where did you learn to speak English?
I'm a doctor.
I know.
And my medical school in Baghdad was entirely in English.
Your father is deceased and your mother and sister remain in Baghdad? I'm going to need a verbal response.
Yes.
How did you get to the United States?
I had a governmental visa because I was invited by the NIH for a conference.
Well, you've been to London, Berlin, Istanbul. Why seek asylum in the United States?
I feel I belong here. 3 days in New York and I felt like a New Yorker. 18 nationalities in one subway car. Feels home for all of us here. And I'm in love with an American woman.
What threat prevents you from returning to Baghdad?
I'm not going to lie and tell you someone tried to kill me. At times I felt that way. It's just not safe there.
Have you or anyone you know ever been involved in or affiliated with, even peripherally, a foreign terrorist organization?
No. Not to my knowledge. But I'm sure you already know the answer to that.
It's great. What you had said was, we were talking before, that that this wasn't actually, it's a misnomer to call it a hearing.
Or an interview.
An interview.
What do you call it?
It was an interrogation. I mean, I was lucky that one, I spoke the language. So when I came and to this country, I had some good English to communicate, so that actually helped me a lot to communicate on a human level with the lady who was interrogating me, not interviewing me. So it felt like the way that the question being structured, the way that's the tone, the follow-up on the questions was made you feel that yes, you are being interrogated, especially like for me, it was complicated because I left my country because I didn't want to be interrogated over there.
Yeah.
And then I had to go through maybe my last interrogation to get the permission to
stay here.
And it was a little bit complicated, but I'm thankful that it wasn't, the lady felt it and she wasn't so tough on me. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, well, you're here, so this is a good thing. This is a good sign, anyway. Yes, right. Yeah. I mean, it must be extremely difficult for those who can't speak English, and you've got an interpreter, and you don't know what the interpreter is actually sort of saying, and you've got then any number of other issues.
Yeah. So the lawyer that she was with me going through the interview, and she's an immigration lawyer, and this is her daily job. She told me this is the easiest interview that she ever had.
Oh wow.
For immigrants from Afghanistan or from Iraq, and the reason is like I communicated directly to the lady, and she was explaining to me, for example, sometimes like especially old women or old woman or man, they take time to think of the question, and that's for them a reason to doubt them. And then when you start the doubt, you start to actually break the person in front of you. And so it's a very complicated human experience, but I think that it's after like all these years, I feel like, well, yeah, but now I feel it's a fair price to pay to get the permission to get into this great human experience that we call it America. Yeah. So, I'm trying to be realistic with even with my wounds.
Now, when so much of the film is, in some respects, mirroring elements of your life, how do you work with the actor to convey that?
It's a double-edged sword. Like sometimes it's really easy and sometimes it's really complicated. It depends on my mood that particular moment. And the actor's mood on that. And sometimes those two moods, they don't
We're going to
meet.
bring him on now.
Exactly. But I was lucky to work with Adam Bakri and Jess, and especially we prepared really well. So most of the hard talk been done before the actual shooting. So when we had like bumpy moments during the shooting, I was reminding myself first and reminding them of what we agreed before the shooting. But what I sensed from just the writer, then just the actor, and from Adam Bakri as the actor, they trusted me completely because I was directing them or communicating with them from a lived experience.
You have innate authority in this conversation.
Yes,
right. I mean,
I lived this.
They didn't like just find some guy to kind of direct our movie, right? I mean, you come with a lifetime of experience to do this.
Yes.
So.
After like this scene, the interview scene, the interrogation scene. Adam, after like we had so many takes, so many angles for the scene, and in the end he came to me and he said like, no, I feel it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now I know. I feel the talk. I feel the word. Yeah.
Adam is amazing in the film.
He's a great talent.
He holds the screen. You guys have amazing chemistry in the film together as well. Where did you find him?
We casted Arab actors, and Jess can talk more about this.
Yeah. We worked with Carrie Barden and Paul Schnee to cast. They are the most darling humans in the world. Really like adore them. I cannot speak highly enough. And yeah, we saw a handful of actors for the role. I mean, it's a demanding role. We wanted somebody Arabic language speaking for obvious reasons. I mean, and it's funny, actually, early on, we had Omar as an Algerian man as opposed to as a Lebanese man, so that they would have to speak English with each other because Algerian Arabic and Levantine Arabic are different.
Right.
And so that was to enable the film to be fully English language. And then over the course of time, we decided that there was some inauthenticity to it, that it felt pandering to an American audience as opposed to really living in the reality and the authenticity of what the story is. And so we made that transition for Omar, and therefore needed a talent who had Arabic language. And we saw a number of different folks, and actually Adam's tape came in like a day late, maybe. We had sort of been like, okay, this is the group of actors, all wonderful, wonderful actors, some of them playing other roles in the film. Again, just incredibly talented folks. And Adam's came in, and and he was wearing a hoodie, and it was actually this scene. The interrogation scene was one of the audition scenes. And in a hoodie, kind of like slumped down in the chair and gives this performance. And Oday and I watched it and we were like, that's him.
Definitely.
And we did a chemistry read over Zoom. And Oday was like, I don't need to see anything else. We're done. And then, we met in person. He splits his time, Adam, between Dubai and New York. And so he was in New York and we got to meet for the first time. And I remember we were at a coffee shop on 72nd in Amsterdam, and Oday and Adam had gotten there on time, and I was late, as I often am. And I know this about myself now. I remember walking down the hallway and seeing Oday at the end of the hallway, and then turning the corner and seeing Adam, and was just like, whoa, you've been writing I've been writing a character for a couple of years at that point, and living with him for even longer through the development process, and then to see him standing in front of you is a pretty extraordinary thing. And it's my screenwriting debut, my feature screenwriting debut. So also to live long form with a character for so long.
That's thrilling. To have written a script and conceived it and kind of, in this case, obviously you came in and did a draft of a previous version, but you obviously you brought a woman's perspective and a lot of yourself to it. To be in it as an actress and then also to be a writer were you fighting two parts of your brain? Was it hard to kind of get present with what was going on in the material?
It's such a good question, and I really will go back to Oday's comment about trusting him. There was a point at which we said, like, you're not the writer anymore. I remember he said something to me where he was like, no, like, somebody else is gonna produce this. Somebody else can, if we need to do a pass, like Oday was like, I can go take the page. Nobody else can play Katie. So if you have to choose between any of these things, choose Katie. And that meant that over the course of principal photography and our pickups and everything, playing her, embodying her, living in her was the priority. And my relationship with Adam made that really easy. He is such a generous actor and such a darling person. And he and I were on set almost every single day. And so we would sort of squirrel away into a corner and talk about books and talk about food and not talk at all, and just kind of be in that space, and developed a really lovely friendship. I have so much respect for him and so much gratitude for him. And I think that I was able to put the writer brain down
to rest. Yeah, that's that's good.
Yeah, it felt, sometimes when a good actor, you give him or her the script and they read all the characters, all the lines to understand their role, to prepare for their role. It felt like the rewrite that Jess did for the script, it was on that direction, like she was preparing to play the role. So the rewrite itself was so she knew everything. I didn't need to explain anything about any other characters. So that's really helped me a lot. So when I was talking about a certain connection in that particular moment in the script, between her and and it's a blueprint for something happened 20 pages before. She wrote that. She knew.
She knows.
So she felt it. So the communications was a different level. Like I was lucky as a director on that. In the beginning, I was a little bit, concerned is like, how is she going to make the switch between the writer and the director?
Right. Which is just about kind of letting go, right? I mean, it's just like, and again, but it's that trust.
With a great knowledge. Like, she knew everything. So Katie, for her, was like, she lived it.
Well, and we had such a shorthand. So there would be a scene and it was going a certain direction, and he'd come and whisper like 3 words in my ear, and I was like, oh, totally different take on the scene.
Yeah, we use the word jazz.
Yeah.
Like, let's, we have solid way to execute the scene, but then, so this is the chord progression. So now let's improvise. Let's play jazz with the scene. And our cinematographer was like generous enough to understand the game. So we were actually.
He stayed with you, right?
Yeah, he did. And we tried a lot of new things while we were actually playing jazz within the script, within the shooting.
Yeah. I wrote the script. Every time I sat down to write, I put on Miles Davis Kind of Blue. Yeah. And so I had that sort of kind of energy, and then I'd get on the train to go to set and I'd put it on in my head. So it's like, that was the soundtrack kind of behind it. And so when we said, you're like, yes, okay, there's improvising, but you know what the chords are that you're supposed to do. Yeah. And it was improvising mostly emotionally. I mean, we had some scenes where we played with the dialogue and kind of let it change, but a lot of it was pretty locked in.
Yeah.
What about the title in terms of kind of the meanings of the title? If you see something, because I mean, it evokes all that sort of sense of kind of being looked at or being stared at, or it has also the
being on
thing you
edge,
see, or being on edge, or
you're in a public space. If you see something, say something.
Right.
So
You didn't include that last part.
Yeah, right.
Like starting from Joanne.
Right. So we had a writer come in to do a pass of the script, and we didn't end up moving forward with her. With
She's
her
a great
past,
friend for us.
wonderful friend of Oday's and Avram's and now mine, and she gave us the title. And what we loved, so many things that we love so much about it, many that you just said, this kind of sense of being watched. This, when you hear, if you see something, say something, that came out of 9/11. That came. I mean, it's absolutely targeted towards Arab folks, whether it's Arab Americans or Arab immigrants,
Right.
And so. One of the things that Oday early on said was, I hope that after people see the movie, they see that differently. They hear, if you see something, say something, or see it written, and that they have a different relationship to it, a less prejudiced relationship to it. I think the other thing in it that I've loved, and again, in this kind of multi-genre, is what you see in other people. If you see something in somebody else, that can be enough to fall in love. That he's an eye doctor, she's an art curator, so they have these relationships to vision and seeing something in somebody, in art, in each other. Yeah, a multi-layered kind of, definitely it hits on the kind of thriller element, but there is this underbelly of kind of loveliness to it that we hoped that the film also would bring.
When I was thinking of the title, because I love the title. So we were talking with Sujin, the editor, wonderful editor, and we're talking about the title as a concept and how this apply on each scene, like the urgent sense of urgency, And I remember once I told myself, and then I shared it with Sujin, is like, well, sometimes also if you see something well, everything will change. So
Did you really see it?
It's like exactly. So it was like there's so many dimensions for this title inside me. So
one of the challenges of relationships is you talked about bubble earlier, and the couple is somewhat in their little bubble, but they go outside of their bubble as well, introducing people to your family and getting their reactions because they're not necessarily part of the bubble, and frankly, what do you learn about your family when you introduce another party? But we've got a great clip of a family dinner.
Yeah,
So
great.
let's take a look at that.
Hey, pie. But they catch and they carry the ball with their hands, so why football? I get his confusion.
Yeah, but they run with their feet.
You explaining the game to him?
Yeah, they don't have football where he's from, just soccer. Does anybody want a beer?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, one more. No, football, that's a good reason to seek asylum, right, Ali? I don't think Charlie could live without American football.
Yeah, well, honestly, I feel like football is probably the least of their worries. I can't imagine why anybody would question why someone would want to get the hell out of that place.
Whoa.
No, seriously.
Okay. Anyway.
Hey, did you see the news the other day? They bombed that government building in Iraq?
Yeah, I saw that on CNN.
The Iraqis bombed a U.S. building?
No, they bombed an Iranian one.
Charlie.
I sent you that article about it.
What article?
It wasn't a bombing, actually.
Oh, yeah, sorry, bro. You've got the local perspective.
He's not a local. He lives here.
No, Charlie meant that he's from there.
Right.
Let's have some dessert, right? Got this pie out.
Kat, he might want to talk about home. Have you asked him?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like these people are all these friends.
I actually have friends there. Many of them are demonstrating because this militia backed by Iran killed over 600 innocent people. So they set fire to the Iranian consulate because they are angry and they are fighting for democracy just as you are here.
I don't think it's the same thing.
You're right. They have a lot more to lose there. But I'm not a local anymore, like Katie says. So I don't understand the daily experiences. you will have to go there and ask.
It's great. It's great. It's great. It's really,
That's
really
one of my
great.
favorites.
So you need a knife not just to cut the pie, but the tension. How, is that we talked about the interrogation scene being somewhat Did you have any kind of experiences similar to that, or is that something you brought to the script?
Like I lived it in a different way, but it's the same energy with so.
We've all had that experience. I mean, at some level, when we, have to, because our families sort of become this circle, and
it's not only the family.
Yeah, well,
it's like I'm like back in Baghdad. Like one of my favorite movies was like The Usual Suspect, but I never felt this title till I immigrated here. It's like, you are the usual suspect, so like by definition, and then you start to first to learn how to deal with it, and then I think when you develop enough as an immigrant, you start to excuse people, try to see things from their perspective, and then try to communicate, and then to get them into your side. And I think that's part of in telling the story of this movie is what about the other? Like we talk about yes, immigrant, and the experience of immigration is very hard one. Like, for example, like when it comes to language, like when I speak in Arabic, I express myself the way Noam Chomsky expressed himself. But when I speak in English, I feel like I'm thinking of the language first, then the idea second, until this moment. So there's a big gap between your being and you as an immigrant. So I understand that. But the crisis doesn't end there, because you are communicating with society, you are communicating with other individuals who maybe they weren't ready for you to come in, or they lived a different experience with the different immigrants that they can, and I'm not giving any excuses. All I'm saying is it's take two to tango. So let's think about it this way. So yes, I lived this kind of things, but I was also telling myself it's part of the whole experience. And sometimes it's painful, and sometimes it's really rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
I always saw this scene as almost a microcosm for the film, which is that each character in this scene is telling their truth. It was really important for Oday and I, as we were developing it, that none of these characters are the bad guy. Like Reed came in and was like, so I'm the antagonist. And we were like, no, you're not the antagonist. Like, you're a father. You're a father. If that within the structure of the story looks like antagonism at certain moments, it's not because you're antagonizing anybody. It's because you're protecting your bubble. You're protecting your family. And these are people that are watching CNN. These are people that are, maybe he wants to talk about home. Have you asked him? Like, they're all well-meaning people in their own way, but their priorities are what their priorities are. And, the ways in which he's a local, he doesn't live there anymore. No, he's from there. And what that means for Ali, and what Katie knows that means for Ali. And as he's kind of coming here and situating himself in an American relation, in a relationship with an American in America, like there's all of these kinds of, just really subtle little zhuzhes.
This is what I was talking about perspectives. This is the scene that really kind of like you have 4 people and 8 perspectives essentially.
Right.
And that's what I found interesting about the scene in terms of, because you're like, and so it keps you on your toes in that regard. And then he has the last word, I think. But I guess what in your imaginings in terms of or your wishes, I guess, is the audience that you would find with this, or where is it? Where's the heart of the audience that you want to get to?
Everyone. I mean, and everything in the audience. Like for me, is discussing the issue of immigrants. It's a fair game till you are racist. Then I cannot communicate with you. And this film is actually looking for those people who they do have issues with the matter of immigration and the relationship between an immigrant and a Native American. Positive or negative. I want you to see this. I want you to see our perspective in this. And I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to explore the matter with you cinematically. And that's as a director and as a team. I think that was one of the ultimate goal. I want to reach people who, like, I care about the intellectuals. I care about like what the critics will think about this movie and the film, and my colleagues, the filmmakers. But I really care about like the ordinary people, the people who spend like 15 hours working and they want to see something serious but interesting and discussing a relevant matter. So that's my
Yeah, and I think one of the things that was really interesting as we've done our festival run has been that the experience of seeing the immigration process played out on screen from the perspective of somebody who has gone through it is actually something that hasn't been quite done before in this way. Oday is the first Iraqi director to make a feature film, Iraqi-born director to make a feature film in America and in the United States. And the number of immigrants, whether they're Filipino immigrants in San Diego or Mexican immigrants in Minneapolis, who said that was my experience. I saw that. On set, we had a number of folks. Our sound guy was a Norwegian immigrant. He said, I got asked the same questions. They were they felt similarly violent, similar interrogation style. Our script supervisor, like so many members of the team who saw their wide-ranging experiences as immigrants represented because it's so specific, because it's so connected to what Oday has gone through, and that it's not alienating to, frankly, like white Americans also, like that we at Woodstock were able, I was having conversations afterwards with folks who were like
a hotbed of immigrant community.
Yes, right. Not even, and that it was so resonant that it didn't even have to be about immigration in that space. It was about trying to get to know each other. A queer couple came up to me and said, that's what it was like bringing my partner home for the first time. That's what that felt like. Right. And so I think, again, this idea that this film is at its core an exploration of getting to know another person across difference, that is something that resonates, at least that we've experienced resonating in a lot of expected and a lot of surprising ways.
Well, there's a whole issue of dealing with patriarchy as well in the film. I mean, not just Katie, but one of
Maya,
a central character who brings something.
She's like my favorite character, I think, and Hend Ayub, who plays her, is extraordinary.
I'm dancing. I'm dancing. You were very clear. We don't want to give away too much about the ending of the film or anything like that.
So we want you to see it.
We want you to absolutely. We want you to see it and experience it and learn about it in that way. But there is a lot going on, and obviously, and that's a big part of it as well. It's about Katie confronting her own relationship and her family and her relationship with her father and everything like that, and agency, I guess.
Well, it's funny because when we talked to a lot of editors, and the reason why Suyan was the editor that we decided to work with, in addition to her being just incredibly talented, was that she saw, Ali is this kind of through line of the plot. He is driving the thing, but Katie is the one kind of circling around him, and she really understood. We talked to so many people that were like, oh yeah, Ali and the girlfriend. And didn't understand the kind of core of what the movie is.
Right. And I have to say, that's a really interesting thing because, you having a vision for this film and then trusting her, trusting your writer to kind of really inform the role and also to kind of really give that its perspective. It gives it a much fuller kind of a landscape, as it were, because you're not just a girlfriend. You're so much more, and you bring more, and your performance is beautiful, and your chemistry is amazing. But but the fact that you could sort of, hand that over and kind of let her run with that and bring that back to you is wonderful too.
Yeah. So basically, this is my first English-speaking film, and making it's part of the story itself. It's making this movie by an immigrant, surrounded by all those great people helping me to tell it the way that I want to tell it, and through sometimes hard time discussions and taking the core essential decisions within the movie. I think that was part of my American experience as an immigrant, not only as a human being, but as a filmmaker. So now I'm really ready for my second English-speaking movie, because I went through this workshop, a human workshop, to make this movie, and everybody respect the way that I see things and helping me execute it without compromise and without And when I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and when I'm right, they celebrate it. So that dynamic,
that'll carry you very far. That's a good thing to have. That's a great thing to have.
Part of the whole thing.
The best idea wins, right?
Finishing the movie, that was part of like, I do have life here now. I mean, with all due respect, you're not designed as a first generation immigrants to come and make feature films, and it's not that easy. So now I feel like, this country can give you a lot.
You can do it. Yeah. And then of course you brought the white girl back to Jordan, I guess. So you did your you had some. You want to talk about that? I mean, I don't want to give it too much of the way, but you have a.
Well, one of the through lines of the film, is the dream sequences, and I'm curious. I mean, actually, now that I'm thinking back on whose dreams are they?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, first you need to see the film to go through but I think that we know exactly who dreams are, but I prefer not to sell it,
Right. Let people make up their own mind, as it were.
Exactly,
right?
because I think this is part of the narrative. Then when you reach the third dream, you understand, now I get it,
But the dream, just to set it up, the dream sequences occur within the film, and you shot them in Jordan. Is that right?
Oh yes, yeah. So we were planning to shoot it in Baghdad, but for the insurance was a little, and we are very low budget, so Jordan was a very good second choice for that. But the first plan was to shoot it in Iraq somewhere, but we just logistically we couldn't. So we and the Jordanian team were amazing. And creating while the shooting, it was like, no, I'm not in Amman, I'm in Baghdad. So as an Iraqi. So
yes.
So that was and it was.
They're very elaborate, and they're all. It's one.
Single shot.
You're just single shot. And
that was the first and the second dream. They were Warner. They were single shots, and that was.
That's a lot of planning. Holy Moses. And all the, everyone involved in it.
I drove her crazy.
I was thinking about, wow.
I drove her crazy.
Holy cow, yeah.
It took us a whole night to shoot the first dream.
Yeah, well, so they're all night shoots too. So we were, we'd arrive.
I thought you might have been in a studio. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
no. They were on location.
Yikes.
There's the steps.
Right, there is that one, of course. I don't want to give that away, but yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the production design team, made these spaces just look, they were completely immersive. And I picked up a little bit of Arabic along the way, but certainly not enough to communicate with anybody. And so it really especially, the dreams in which Katie is kind of seeing a place for the first time and understand what that experience was not so far away from what it was to kind of be there
in real time, right?
Yeah, and again, just this incredibly immersive and beautiful space, and then to do them as single shots. It was I think the first dream is a 3.5 minute single shot. The second is similar, 4 or something. And so, and there are kids, and it's a ballet. It's a ballet. Really.
I learned before shooting these sequences is when you have something complicated to shoot, is first everybody's excited about. And then they start to get exhausted.
Right.
And
that's exactly right.
And this is the moment.
Particularly for night shoots, right?
Yeah. And this is the moment that you need to remember this. That's bear with them, because they will be so exhausted, then they're not going to feel exhausted anymore. They just want to get it right. So I was pushing it a little bit hard early shoot just to get them exhaused as quick as possible.
Oh, that's interesting. So there was a method to your madness, right? Yeah.
Oh, the whole team, technically, all the talents because they put so much effort that they really wanted to get it right and get it good. So and usually you get it one of the last 3 takes, and then you see them. That's everybody become a director.
Everyone jumps in. Right,
become a director, has a vision exactly what to do and how to do it with full energy, and it worked.
That's great. That's great. That's great to carry that off and make that work with all those moving parts and a single shot. It's really and at night.
Tons of extras.
Yeah.
The Steadicam. Christopher, who was our Steadicam operator, was by the end of the night
he was because the Steadicam was the machine was a little bit heavy. So
as they can be. Right.
Which is so different from the rest of the film intentionally, right? The whole thing is Vecchione, who's our DP and absolutely astonishing. handheld the whole time, and really kind of responding, so that you get that intimacy, and then you get into these dreams, and it's so smooth, and it's,
It's great. So the film opens in the fall. We'll know that date soon. We'll put that basically so that everyone knows when that is. And what's the rollout? I mean, are you opening essentially probably New York and Los Angeles, and then the rest of the country?
Yeah. I think we're going to do something like a platform release. Is Joint Venture's plan, our incredible partners at Joint Venture who are distributing the film. We will, open, I think, most likely New York and LA, and then be able to go to the Bay Area, DC, Chicago, lots of wonderful art house theaters all around the country that we would love to be able to partner with to screen this film. I think it's really a film that is for, as Oday said, for people. And so we want, I think
bring it to the people.
Bring it to the people, and the community that the third spaces that art houses are in this country, and I think through COVID, cinema, has been like less of a gathering place, and I feel so passionately, and why I'm so grateful for you guys and for the Laemmle theaters here in LA. I mean, it's a community for me and for us as Los Angeles to have a space like an art house to come to experience culture, to experience stories, to be able to have conversations about them afterwards. And I think we really hope that this film is something that sparks dialogue. We want people to talk about it.
If you see something, go to the art house and see it, right?
Yes. That's
you want to see it, go and see it.
Yeah. If you see something.
Look, the film lands at and obviously from where you started the journey, no way of knowing where we were going to be currently dealing with this question of immigration. And that's an opportunity and also maybe a challenge, because it's not a polemical film. It's not specifically about the politics of immigration. I think it's about the emotional quality, the human experience of immigration. And I think, therefore, it should be something that everybody should, want to see, whatever side they are on the issue, because I think there's an opportunity here to really learn something about ourselves.
And we are a nation of immigrants, right?
We are, I mean, fundamentally, right? Like that really is the thing. We all had to come at some point and get to know our neighbors.
I think that also this aspect of like the human aspect of the whole issue is being left out from most of the discussions that I hear, especially in the last 2 years. And I think this is a problem because it's part of the formula. Yes, the political, the economic, socio questions are really important to understand the game of your identity as a human being, rather it's either you're immigrant or native citizen. But neglecting the human aspect, neglecting what this mother feels when you take her child from her, or what this father feels when he failed his family and you send him back just for, I don't know, what the reason will be. I think that's a very problematic for the conscience of this nation. And I think that this is something we need at least to communicate about, the human aspect of the immigration question.
Yeah, I mean, and that is the thing that I love about New York, right? Is that you are essentially surrounded by every other class of people and every other language, and you are, where a lot of compartmentalized cities essentially turn away from it or turn it off. This, New York sort of puts it in your face, but this is a way to kind of really humanize.
Los Angeles, but has certainly no shortage of immigrant communities, and frankly, even Seattle and Detroit, and there may be different.
I'm talking about smaller communities. I'm not saying just New York. I mean, LA, of course.
I mean, I felt it like the first, and it's line in the movie. I mean, we talked about it. Just adopted the line that the first time I used the subway in New York. I was like, whoa! It's like this is the UN in one car,
right? No, that's amazing.
So that's something you feel it. Like really close hand in New York. I felt.
But I want to speak to Springfield, where they're not eating the cats and the dogs, but there is an established immigrant community, and it's part of the fabric of that community
very
now.
Active,
and
and I think that this
and maybe in those communities they have an easier time almost reaching out than we do in some of these larger, because you can get insular. Ali can find a very small community where he doesn't have to speak English. and can retreat to that. And at some level, anyway.
Well, no, I mean, there's sort of two things on my mind about that. One of them is the way in which human beings getting to know other human beings, see each other's humanity. In communities where blended communities, where there are folks that are born in the United States, raised in the United States, and folks who have immigrated to the United States and are living here now and building, families here and lives here. When they know each other, it's so much harder to tear them apart. It's when they are kept separate. It's when immigrants feel that they have to hide because ICE is coming for them, that it's going to create this wedge, further this divide between people who actually, again, have so much more in common about what they want for their lives. And this is something, I mean, again, like sitting around, going back to 2016 and sitting around my, small kitchen table in my New York apartment with Avram and Oday, and looking across and saying, this is a man who has had every different, I grew up in San Diego, California, a very, very blended community, but, very far away from Iraq. And we could sit and have a conversation. There's nothing in the way of that except for ourselves and our ability to surpass what our own limitations are, to get to know each other is what the film is about. And what we need,
and understanding the fears of the other. That's what I always remind myself and remind my friends who, when we discuss the immigration issue, is like, let's not alienate the other. Like, the way that they do it toward us, because we are because in the end we are all human beings. Like all this, we just need to be fair with each other. That's all.
That's right. And this is what I said, the first question I tried to ask, which was essentially, the moment you land in. So you started the film in 2016, and here you are, the film becomes both timely and important as regards to kind of the issues you're talking about, even more so than ever. Certainly important in 2016, but just screaming important now. And so I really hope people get to come see it in theaters and also join in the conversation and get to meet you there as well.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having us here in this historic place.
So we don't know exact dates yet. We know it's going to be coming out this fall. Where can people go to get information? Is it a joint venture, or do you have a specific?
So at ajointventure.com, our distributor will have a lot of information about where we're screening, when we're opening, all of that. You can sign up there. We do not spam you. Just give you updates on where the film is going, and opportunities to get involved. We have an Instagram for the film, which is at If You See Something.
Great.
Well, it's a really terrific film. I just knocked my socks off. And I can't wait to show it to audiences here in Los Angeles, and hopefully through the show, encourage people around the country to check it out when they have that opportunity.
And thank you for this conversation. It was a great conversation.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you
you
for coming
guys.
in.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure to like and subscribe and share this episode with people who who would like to see this film. Can't wait to have you back here to the Royal for opening night of the film.
We can't wait.
If you see something.
Thank you.
Our show was produced by Raphael Sbarge with on-site producer Noreen Dickerson. Supervising producers are Thomas Cassetta and Miles McCreary. Our show was edited by Gabriel Laemmle and sound mixed by Thomas Cassetta. Our musical theme was composed by Isabel Engman and Gerardo Garcia Jr. Marketing by Gabriel Laemmle. Show graphics by Jenna DeAngelis. Additional marketing and web design by Stephanie Peters. Filmed at the historic Laemmle Royal Theater in Los Angeles, California. See you next time on Inside the Arthouse. If you like today's show, please consider subscribing to our channel to learn more on Inside the Arthouse.